I need the mic and the camera. All right, there we go. That's what's going on. We got it all solved. It's Writer Radio episode 198. Thank you for joining us. 198 is a lot. That's a lot of episodes, man. A lot of episodes. Um, this is one of those days where I've got 75 different things that'll all last 5 minutes, and that will lead to the show trying to be 6 hours long, when in reality it's going to be about 2 hours long. But there's no like one real focus. There's no guest planned for today. There's no pre-recorded segment. I do that sometimes where I've got something that I'm planning to do at 11 o'clock and it's pre-recorded. I put it out. Whatever. I don't have any of that. All I have is 1,000 different things, each worth 4 minutes of conversation. But when I get my hands on them, 4 minutes turns into 11 minutes. Next thing you know, I'm out of time. It's going to be one of those days. No solid plan. I'll say this. Of all the stuff that I've got open up there, written down over here, written in this other notebook that I brought with me today. This is the thing I scribble in late at night, and usually it's garbage, but sometimes it's about, we'll get to this. This is an idea for the show that was invented by kind of by me, because I'm the one that does the show, but inspired by my 9-year-old son. There's something there. But I'm instead going to start with what has already come through in the chat, in the Mixler app. Arbo. I'll be honest, Arbo, I did not notice that I hadn't heard from you in a while. But as soon as I heard from you, I was like, oh, I haven't heard from him in a while. And he explains why. And this is a conversation that is close to home right here, near and dear to my heart. First of all, if you're watching this show on YouTube, you might notice something a little bit different about me compared to normal. And what would that be? Look, I'm wearing my glasses today. See these? These are my glasses. I don't wear them very often. They don't even work great. The contacts work a lot better than the glasses. I'm old, and these probably should be bifocals at this point, because my real trouble, not when I have contacts, but just when I have glasses, despite the fact that they have the same prescription. When I have glasses on, I struggle with changing focus. Like, I want to look at the screen. Now I'm looking at the sheet of paper here, and I want to read something on my phone, and it's just like, and it's crazy. But with contacts, for some reason, I'm fine. But with the glasses, I am not. So I tend to, and I even tend, this is what I do. I buy contacts by the gross, basically. And I get the daily ones, and I just leave them in until they bother me, and then I take them out, and then I rest my eyes for a day. And then I'll put in new ones, and I'll leave them in until they bother me. Then I'll take them out, and I'll rest my eyes for a day. Since we've started doing the video component of this show, this is probably the second time that I've had glasses on during the show. And it is a product of me at night going, I'm not sleeping in these things again, and taking them out and throwing them out. Usually just leave them on the nightstand and then clean them up in the morning. And then when my eyes feel rested and ready, I go back to it. It's my own system. It is not recommended by anyone, but it's what I do. And going back to when I first got contacts, when I was a sophomore in high school, I followed all of their instructions, and I tended to 2 or 3 times a week set my eyeballs on fire by not having the proper pH balance between the cleansing solution and the little disc that's supposed to offset that, and then rinsing it with saline, all that. And then, so that was sophomore year that I started that, and I was having trouble for 2 years, where I was like, I don't know about this contact thing. It was good. It's good when it's good, but it's bad when it's bad. And there was a kid we were in the library. I remember specifically senior year being in the library. I also remember The Simpsons being very new at the time. In fact, they may have allowed us to watch it on the TV in the library that day. Because I can picture where I was sitting. I can picture The Simpsons on TV in the library, which is weird, but it's because it was a brand new show and it was exciting. So even then, in high school, they let us watch The Simpsons on television. That's not the point. The point is, a guy then, well, he's a kid. He was in high school like me. It'd be weird if it was just a guy hanging out in the high school library that wasn't a librarian. Not an employee. I don't know who he was. He came from the woods. He seemed all right. He seemed pretty smart. Had a good head on his shoulders. Had lots to say about the AOSEPT contact lens cleaning system. No, it was just a guy. I think it was Kevin. And he said, I just use saline. And it's fine. You just take them out. You put them in saline. You put them back in, and they're fine. If they're bad, you get rid of them, you get new ones. And this is before these daily wear ones were available, where I've got cases of them. And my left and right eye have the same prescription. So that really helps. There's none of this left eye, right eye stuff. Oh, I need a box of left eye lenses because I'm almost out of those, but the right eye ones are no. Same thing. Same exact prescription, both eyes. When a contact bothers me, I take the two out, I wait a day, and then I get back to wearing new ones. But it might be time to reconsider because Arbo's been missing from the chat for a while. And here's what he has to say this morning. Man, I missed the last 4 or 5 shows, had an eye incident. Fell asleep with contacts in, woke up blind in left eye. Very scary. Vision has come back after 2 weeks of eye drops, but was not guaranteed. I know you doze off, Brad, with them in. Be careful. I learned the hard way. I do it on purpose. This is what I do. Doctor told me I could never wear contacts again. 4 eyes for life. What was this? 2 more to 200. Got to be a T-shirt giveaway. We'll talk about Show 200. Show 200 is complicated. He came from the woods. Hopefully not the Amherst Park woods. No, this would have been the Pines behind West Seneca East High School. And it was just Kevin. He went to school with me. He's fine. He was just a regular guy. But he taught me that I didn't have to. This is early on early version of me becoming a rebel and not trusting things. Things that caused me distrust. This is a moment. This is like a seminal moment in my history. So he's like, you don't have to listen to the doctor. Just do this. It's better. It won't hurt anymore. And it didn't hurt. What the doctor was telling me to do hurt. And then what Kevin told me to do in 1990 or 92, 91, 92. What Kevin told me to do in like 1991 or 92 has been good for me since then. So I got doctor's advice. I used that for about 2 years. It was terrible. I got advice from a guy named Kevin, and that's been working for me. So, like, I learned something there that has stuck with me. Doctor wrong, Kevin right. Another thing that stands out to me, just kind of rejecting everything that everybody says. This is why I have to do a show by myself. I have friends and stuff. I fit in certain places, but I don't know. I reject. I don't know, standard notions that are presented as fact. I don't buy them. I'm always thinking about who's trying to sell me what. The best example is, what? The orthodontist said the kid needs braces? You don't say. The guy who sells braces says that we need braces? What? No way. Well, I guess we better listen to him. He knows best. What, with his history of making all of his money by telling people they need braces and then selling them? I'm not saying nobody needs braces. I'm just saying, if you need an opinion on whether or not your kid needs braces, asking an orthodontist is going to give you the same answer every time. That's all. No knock on orthodontists. And it's a noble profession, I guess. It's fine. It's fine. I get it. You're helping people. But also, have you ever said, I think this will be fine. I think those teeth look pretty good. Has an orthodontist ever said that? I don't know an orthodontist. I've never been to an orthodontist. I don't know that I've met an orthodontist. But I don't know. Seems to me we check engine lights. Hey, are you a moron that knows nothing about cars? We know everything about cars. Did a light come on saying that you should take this to somebody and have a bunch of money extracted from your wallet? We'll do that. We'll look at your check engine light. If that light comes on for free, I'll tell you, today, our offer today is for free. You first you have to promise you don't know anything about cars. Then you have to have a light come on in your car. Then you have to bring it to us, and we will not charge you at all to diagnose it for free and then tell you what you need to give us in order to get your car back. That's not a good deal. Orthodontist might as well have a "we check engine lights" sign in the front. We will find a way to extract every possible dollar from you to slightly change the look of your child's smile. That's going to be fine even without these things. But we'll fix it. Fix it right now. Now is the time. Here, along the same lines of orthodontia is scammy. The fact, and this is going to go back a bit too. The moment I saw Terrell Davis wearing braces while playing in the NFL, I thought, oh, so you can just decide later that you want to do it? And that's the way it's been. Now there's all this Invisalign and all the stuff they advertise. Like, make your teeth straight. Like, now that you can make a decision. You don't have to go to a consultant who is in big orthodonture. You can just decide and then make a purchase as an adult. You don't have to force your kids in. Oh, well, you might want to wait a little till his jaw develops. Yeah, I do. I do want to wait. Let's see how it goes. Knock it off, orthodontists. Enough out of you people. And that's the way I feel about the eye thing. The eye thing's a little more dangerous. So I'm not saying dentists. Dentists fix problems. And I'm not saying orthodontists don't also fix problems. I understand that. I know many people who have had great dealings with orthodontists. I just don't believe in them. I don't believe in them being forced because I don't trust them. They're salesmen. They're salesmen. So it's fine. It's fine. You might want what they're selling. You might want it so badly that you are willing to listen to them, take what they say at face value, and then just go with it. I'm just not like that. I can't do that. Sorry. I don't know if you've listened to the show at all, you probably understand. My mentality is a little different than most. I apologize. I'm not saying I'm even right. I'm just telling you, from my standpoint, I don't trust it. And this, you can't sleep in contacts. I assure you, you can. I get that it did not go well for you, Arbo. I don't know what kind of contacts you had. You might have the old school hard contacts and you dozed off. I'm not talking about dozing off. I'm talking about I put contacts in that are supposed to last a day and I wear them for 3.5 weeks. And then I go, this is a little itchy. All right, take it out, let them rest for a day, and then I bounce back. The human body's pretty good at that. So I'm not saying you're obviously that was a problem that necessitated a trip to the eye doctor. I'm just saying I don't let it get to that point if it hurts. I've lost a contact in my eye before and struggled for half an hour to flush it and find it because it curled up in a ball and rolled back inside. Like, that's no good. But that could happen anytime. Honestly, the biggest negative I have found to sleeping in contacts on a regular basis is the first 10 minutes or so of being awake. I can't quite see yet. But it's not like injury. It's just like there's film. My eyes were closed, and your eyes do what they do when they're sleeping. So there's like the film and kind of like a little glaze going on. And I'll spend the first, 5-10 minutes of being awake. I'm not ready to read. I'm not ready to answer text messages. But I just blink for a couple minutes, and then it's fine because that's what your eyes do. They clean themselves. I'm not recommending this. I'm just saying this is what I do. Don't do it because I did it. I'm sure it's wrong. I'm sure it's not. It's certainly not what the contact lens people would recommend. They say wear it for a day. I say, all right, sure. And then I wear it for 46 days. I sign up for these subscriptions, and they'll send me a box of contacts, 2 boxes, one for the left, one for the right. They're both the same for me because the prescription is the same. And if I don't immediately, the second the box arrives, go cancel my subscription, they'll send me 2 more boxes in like 2 weeks or 3 weeks or something. And I'm still on the first pair of contacts. In fact, I haven't even opened the box because I'm still on the last one. I pre-ordered so that I never run out. And then I'm back in the club, and then they start sending them again. I have to cancel again. So I have, for the last 10 plus years, had an account at an online contact place that I just put on hold for a year or a year and a half at a time. They send me what's supposed to last me 3 weeks, and it lasts me, 18 months or something. So I don't know. I get what you're saying, man. I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you're not blind. Woke up blind in your eye. That's crazy. I would like more details on this. Like, did it have to be surgically removed? Did they just flush it? Was it in there? Did it rip in there? Did it cut something? But like any sign of any pain, they're out for me. And then we rest. And then when we feel good again, we start over. I think it's a good system. So like I said, I didn't know where the show was going to start, but I did have the contact thing in my head, and I do have my glasses on, which I don't enjoy. I might even put the contacts in between. I took the contacts out last night at probably 11:30 or so, and I feel like I'm probably pretty well rested, eyeball-wise, and ready for a new pair, which I've got lots of them. And it feels free at this point. And I feel free. All right, World Series last night. Not nearly the excitement of the previous night. Vlad Guerrero comes through again. 6-1 Jays. This guarantees there will be a Game 6 in Toronto on Friday. Tonight's Game 5. And we're even at 4, which means we're even through 4 games. So we're at 2-2, which means tonight's game will not decide it. Tonight will be played in L.A. Friday, and then Saturday, if necessary, will be played in Toronto. We were kind of laughing at ticket prices last week for Game 1 of the World Series, and I said I would never do that. Would never shell out the kind of money. Never is the wrong, whatever. If money is no object, it's a little different. But if you live in the real world where you have to make decisions, I'm like, yeah, I could attend this World Series Game 1, or I could, help get ready for a trip or whatever. As far as discretionary income, there's only a certain amount of it that you can reasonably allot to your entertainment budget. And if you're at all conscious of that, and I am, how on earth would I pay $1,500 to attend Game 1 of the World Series when there's no chance it's decided until 3 games from now, which would happen in Los Angeles if I'm, a Buffalo-based Blue Jays fan, let's say, which I am Buffalo-based, and I like the Blue Jays. They're not my team, but I like them. I don't have a team. But I couldn't justify it. That said, if the Jays win tonight, that ticket for Game 6 in Toronto, that's something. That becomes something. And now that we know that that's happening, I am curious about the ticket prices on that. So I'm going to check. I'm going to use one of the online ticket resale sites, probably the most famous one. I could say its name, but I'll pretend I'm on the radio and I just don't do stuff like that. All right, here we go. 2 tickets. If I want 2 tickets, the cheapest I can get in the door to Rogers Center for Friday night. This is general admission. These are the tickets that for Game 1 were, I think the lowest price I saw was $681, in that range, $600-something just to get in. And I don't even know what general admission means in that building. I don't know if they have a place for you, if it's standing room. I don't know. Cheapest price right now, $1,138. As far as real seats are concerned, here's 2 left. Oh, this looks nice. Let's check this one. 2 left, behind home plate. You're not in the Geddy Lee section. We talked about Geddy Lee. Geddy Lee's the lead singer and bass player from Rush, Canadian rock band, legendary Canadian rock band. And pretty much every time I've ever been to a Blue Jays game, Geddy Lee has been there, sitting in the same seat. I have not once seen him on TV, or I did not once see him on TV during Game 1 or Game 2. And he might have been shown. I might have just missed him. But typically, he sits in a spot where you can't always see him as you're looking at the batter. But if they have a slightly wider shot, you can see him. If you're watching the screen, he's to the left of the batter, usually like 3 rows up, 4 rows up, something like that. He's usually got his dark little circular sunglasses on. He looks exactly like Geddy Lee, but at a baseball game. He's not holding his base, but he's got rock star hair, usually with a hat, usually like pulled into a ponytail, and his little tiny black circular glasses, usually like some kind of a trench coat or something. He looks like Geddy Lee, and he's almost always on, and he has not been on yet. What was the point? Why did I just bring up Geddy Lee? Oh, you would be sitting in a Geddy Lee type seat, and it would only cost you, as of right now, $20,821. for that ticket. That's section 5, row 4, 2 tickets together. It includes fees, so that's pretty good. But $20,821 is the ticket price right now. Doesn't mean they'll get it. I mean, there are other seats right near there that are $3,000 and $2,200 and that kind of stuff. Upper deck, I'm seeing all prices in the 4 digits. So $1,400, $1,300, $1,500, $1,300. For some reason, there are 2 seats available. Deep right field, barely foul territory, but barely. Way up top, $3,095 each. That's got to be row 1. Yeah, row 1 of section 509. You can sit there for a mere $3,000 a ticket. But again, that includes the fees. I'm not going to go to one of those games. I'm not even going to be in town for one of those games. So this is what we got to talk about with regard to show number 200. Show 200 is Friday. There's a part of me that thinks that we should make that into some kind of massive, spectacular thing. There's another part of me that says we cannot, because I have to leave my house at 10 o'clock on Friday to go to Bowling Green. UB plays at BG. It's a noon game on Saturday. So the show on Friday, which is show 200, can't be live. I mean, it could if I really went nuts, and then I'd be talking for 2 hours on a bus full of UB like staffers and donors and things. I'm not doing that. So the show on Friday, and we've done this before. I've done it without announcing it. And you guys, for the most part, have been none the wiser. It's still a show. It's still going to be new content. It just would be pre-recorded. I have to leave my house basically at 10 o'clock. So what I have the ability to do is put together a 2-hour show, start the stream, press play on whatever the show is, the show that will be pre-built for the, maybe it'll just be me watching fireworks saying happy 200th for 2 hours. I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be. I'm going to put something together, and I'm going to hit play. I'm going to walk away. So you're going to get a show. But I'm going to get it, too. I can listen to it or watch it while I'm on a bus hurtling from Amherst, New York to Bowling Green, Ohio for this weekend's MAC matchup between the Bulls and the Falcons. So, 200th show, that could be, hey, let's load up. Let's have every guest we've ever had on the show come on for 2 minutes at a time. We can't do that. Additionally, while so I've got this show I'm doing, then we'll have another show tomorrow, and then Friday will be it's the 200th episode. It'll be something different. I don't know what. It'll be something. But I have to do that between now and then. Additionally, this week, Paul Peck is going to miss his second game. He expects to be back next week when the Bulls are at Central Michigan, or a week and a half from, it's like 2 weeks from today that they'll play at Central Michigan. He expects to be back for that. But he's out, and what that means is that I am going to, for the first time in my life, be a color analyst for a football game. I've never done it before. I didn't do it in high school. We didn't have a football team in college. The closest I can recall to doing color analysis for a football game is, God, I don't even know what year it would have been, but it was during a bad era of Bills football. Probably the Greg Williams first year, is that 02? 02, 03, whenever Greg Williams became the head coach. The team was terrible. They won twice, I think, that year, maybe 3. And Greg Bauk and I put together a game between those Bills, let's say it's 02 Bills, and the 84 Bills on Madden. And we put all the players in, and then he was the play-by-play guy, probably as Greg Buck, and I was the color guy. So we did this whole football game that we called into a cassette recorder probably at the time, and then aired as a football game. This matchup, Clash of the Titans, between 2 crappy Bills teams. And it was fake. But honestly, I think that's the only time I've ever done that. So this past week, we found out Paul was sick, the day before the game. We said, all right, the easiest thing is Brad does what he normally does. That's me. I'm talking in third person, but I'm just saying as collectively, as a group, we decided Brad stays as Brad. Scott moves over, becomes Paul. Bob moves in and becomes Scott, and we're good. Well, now it's a road game. And I think they were willing to do other stuff because I have said out loud that I don't profess. I'm among the only people I know in this industry, in the sports media realm, that the only broadcaster I know, maybe literally the only, no aspirations whatsoever to be a play-by-play guy or a color guy. That is the dream job of many nerds like me, people who grow up just idolizing Vin Scully, right? Some people idolize, Dwight Gooden. I love Dwight Gooden, but that wasn't realistic. Vin Scully is realistic. Ted Darling was realistic. I've loved radio and just broadcasting in general, sports writing, all of that stuff since I was a little kid. It's in you. Those of us who have gravitated toward broadcasting all have stories of sitting in a bedroom talking into a tape recorder. I used to pretend I was a DJ. I would play songs and I would talk in between them and record that. Like just all that kind of stuff. We all did this. We're just nerds. For whatever reason, play-by-play color that's never been the thing I was striving for. That said, if I'm going to talk about sports and specifically football and specifically college football and specifically Buffalo Bulls college football, the guy that I've done that with the most by a lot is Scott Wilson. So if Scott is calling the game and I'm going to ride on a bus with Scott and then I'm going to stay in a hotel room with Scott, then I'm going to go to lunch with Scott and dinner with Scott, go out to a bar probably with Scott, go play mini golf or go bowling or go to a comedy show, something with Scott, and then I'm going to go sit in a booth after riding a bus from the hotel room that I stayed in with Scott. I'm going to ride in a bus with Scott to a stadium. I'll walk in with Scott. We'll carry the equipment up. We'll set up the equipment. Why would I not just sit there with a microphone and talk with Scott? So I do not think that this will sound anything like a traditional sports broadcast, at least from my role, because I'm not going to try to mimic what I've heard out of every color analyst my entire life. I'm just going to go sit in a chair and talk about the football game I'm watching while Scott Wilson calls it. And I think it'll work, but I'm not positive. I get one shot at it. What's cool is I'm not auditioning for anything. I'm not trying to get the role. Paul's coming back next week. It's just, hey, I'll do it. So it could be different. It will be different. It could be great. It could be fun. I hope it's a good game. I hope the Bulls win. I think we'll have a lot more fun, as we always do, with a Bulls win than we would with a Bulls loss. I'd like this to be the week where the game does not come down to the last minute. I mean, the Bulls have to be on the positive side of it. If it takes the final minute for the Bulls to win, I accept. But I'd like to see the Bulls just go put their foot on somebody's throat and win a game going away so we can hang out and just do a show that is taking place during a football game, because that's what I'm picturing. So it'll be a little different. But I do ask, check it out. Tune in. No promise that I'm any good at this. I can promise Scott is excellent. Scott's very good. He called his first game as a play-by-play guy in like 20 years. He used to do it at Buff State, and he's been the color guy for 10 or 12 or something, or at least been a part of the broadcast for that long. I don't remember when Jim Kubiak left and Scott took over that seat. But either way, Scott's awesome at it, and I like hanging out with Scott. So that's what you're going to get. You're going to get this awesome play-by-play guy filling in for our regular awesome play-by-play guy who we expect back next week. And then me hanging out as the color analyst. You know how this show sounds different than every other show? That's because that's me. So I apologize in advance that this Saturday's football game will sound different than other football games. But check it out. See how it goes. And honestly, if I'm awful, if it's terrible, it won't be Scott's fault. It won't be UB's fault. And they just won't have me do it again, which is fine because there's not a space for me to do it again anyway. Paul's awesome at his job. He gets to keep it. As soon as he's there, he's in. He does not lose his job to injury or illness. He comes back. Scott is awesome at his job. He goes right back. I'm good at the other part that I do. I'm good at hosting the pregame show. Here's a little example. So because I'm because Paul is still out this week, I yesterday had to go over to UB and do a couple interviews. They're kind of for video online, but they're also specifically for the pregame show. So I talked to Pete Lembo. That's easy. I talk to him all the time. I talked to two of the players, neither of whom has done a lot of like public speaking, a lot of interview type of setting, certainly on camera. You know, they're in uniform. They just finished practicing. They come over now. They're standing at a podium with me in the field house. And I walked them through, introduced myself, clarified pronunciation and names, explained this is easy. It's going to take 3 minutes. The more you talk, the less I talk, the better. In fact, if you'd like, I'll tell you some of the stuff I'm going to ask you about. And this, by having me in that role, that's usually Paul. Paul does the interviews for the pregame show. Instead, I did it. The way you can tell is that now on the pregame show, you'll hear the Bulls left tackle talking about Wu-Tang Clan. Like, Paul never asks about the Wu-Tang Clan. Now, in his defense, Paul rarely interviews anyone from Staten Island that isn't Pete Lembo. But, like, we got into some Wu-Tang. We got into, do you like plane trips better than bus trips? I don't know. Stuff I'm interested in. I don't want to talk about blocking schemes. I don't want to talk about the, it's just different. So, tune in, man. They're letting me try it. So, we'll see how it goes. I'm looking forward to it. Somebody texted, are you nervous? Yeah. I mean, nervous is not exactly the right word. I know it'll be fine. I look forward to, put it this way. I look forward to being 6 minutes into the game. And just, okay, here we go. Like the first time out. I think Scott and Bob kind of had that feeling last week too, as they were filling in, because it was a new role for them. Bob does a lot of color for basketball, and he knows football inside and out. So it was no big deal, but it was a slightly different role for him. I think everyone there, the three of us in the booth, were all like, when we got to the first commercial break. It's like, okay, we did the pregame. We're going to start it. Paul's not here. Let's see how this sounds without Paul. Okay, it sounds different, but we'll be okay. And then by the time you get to the commercial break, all right, we're good. We're up and running. We're fine. And we know we just got to get through one more game without him. But this time we're doing it without Bob, too. Bob will be around. He's just not going on the trip. So Bob will be in his regular spot hosting the post-game show, chiming in at halftime, that kind of stuff. But I've got extra stuff. I'm going to be me and Scott this week. Scott's going to be Paul. Anyway, I've got all my stuff ready. Typically, like the night before we're traveling is when I'm getting ready for the pregame show. Pregame show is ready. Pregame show is done. That's all. It's all printed on a clipboard in the backpack, ready to go. Because I've got to spend the next 2 days getting ready for this new role that I've never done. So the part that I'm usually doing is already done. The reason I'm telling this story is the things I need to get ready for over the next 48 hours are a football game where I'm live on the radio, and I've never done that before. And also show number 200 that is going to be broadcast right as I'm traveling to the football game. If I can come up with some sort of trick where part of the show is live from the bus, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be. But over the course of the next, and I still want to watch the World Series game. And I'm sure there are other things going on in our household. And also, anytime I'm going out of town, there are 17 different things on the list that need to be done before I go because, oh my God, how are we going to survive if the bushes aren't trimmed and I'm gone for nearly 24 hours, that kind of stuff. So there's a bunch to get through between now and when I leave, and I leave at 10. I have to be at UB at 10 after 10. It takes me 7 minutes to get there. So I have the ability to be here, start a broadcast, press play on whatever it is that I have prepared. It might be audio only. It might be video. I don't know yet, but that's what I have to resolve between now and the start of show number 200, which happens exactly at 10 o'clock on Friday morning, which is exactly when I have to leave the house to go to Bowling Green to call a football game like I've never done before. So that's what's going on with me. How are you? All right, so far we've talked about context. The Sabres played last night. They lost in overtime. They're now 4-4-2. I was so excited to look at the standings and see them in the middle of the pack. This is before the game yesterday. I haven't looked since. but I'm sure they're pretty much in the same place. If you get 1 point a game, you're going to hang out in about the same spot. I love seeing them not at the bottom of the standings. What I did not love was then looking at the numbers, like the point totals, and realizing they were 1 point from last. Like they were at 9 with a couple other teams, and then there's some teams with 8. This was yesterday. But it was just like, oh, with one win, the team at the bottom surpasses the Sabres. That's no good. So now they're at 10 points, right? 4-4-2, 10 points. I guess I'll look at the standings. I might as well. Right? We're going to talk about this. I should do it, although I don't trust that my computer is going to work great because I've got so much stuff open. But maybe. Oh, yeah, look at that. Right away. All right. So what's cool? They're dropped down. We're tied for last. Tied for last in the division. And 1 point ahead of last in the whole conference. But it looks better to see the Lightning behind them and the Bruins behind them and the Blue Jackets and the Rangers and the Islanders are all equal or below. What if I do conference? If I switch to conference. Where's conference standings? What are we doing here? Oh, come on. This is the wrong one. This worked better if I had the whole thing in front of me before starting to talk about it. But that's not how the show operates. I apologize, sort of. All right. So we go conference standings now. And, yeah, now they're near the bottom again. But it's so early in the season, it doesn't matter. The point is, I looked the other day, they're right in the middle. I was like, okay, right in the middle. 4-4-1, that's 500, essentially. It's 500 as far as points percentage goes. You've played 9 times, you got 9 points. Okay. Just keep doing that until you get hot. Don't get colder than that, and you'll be fine. And they're in the middle, but they were at 9, and then everybody below them was either also at 9 or at 8. So it looked nicer where they sat, but now I'm looking at the conference standings. The Devils, Penguins, Canadians, Red Wings, Hurricanes, Capitals, Flyers, Leafs, Panthers, Senators, and Blue Jackets are all ahead of them. You can make a case that they're tied with the Blue Jackets. No, you can't. Blue Jackets have 1 fewer game played and also beat the Sabres last night. So they're at 10, and then there are 3 other teams with 10, and then the Islanders have 9. So you're still at the bottom, but it feels better, right? Goal differential, they're only -1. Hanging out. They've lost 2 in a row, but both are in overtime. They've gotten points. It's all right. New guys are scoring. I don't think it's okay to have Josh Doan and Josh Dunn on the same team and both scoring the same night. It's very confusing to somebody who's trying to jump back in on this team and pay attention again. I don't know who Josh Dunn is, but I at first thought there was a typo on the screen. I'm like, his name's not Dunn, it's Doan. I was like, nah, we got both. What are you doing having both? This is like when we had Tim Connolly on the Sabres and we worked with Tom Connolly at Entercom. And we'd be on the radio referring to a hockey player as Tom Connolly and people, R.I.P. Tom, who was awesome. But like we'd reference him because he was our friend, but we meant Tim. You can't have Tim Connolly and Tom Connolly operating in the same place. It's like our Little League team. They had 2 Bradens, a Brennan, and a Braxton. You can't do that. You can't have Braden, Brennan, and Braxton all on the same baseball team. And I don't think there's room for Josh Doan and Josh Dunn, but there is, I guess. Doan scored last night, and then Dunn scored his first NHL goal. He was born in 1998. Good God. I mean, the player right under him is born in 02, so I guess 98 is not that crazy. What do we know about this Josh Dunn guy? He had a goal last night. He has played in 4 games. That's his first goal. Okay. Defenseman. I don't need to dig into his... All right, we'll dig into his bio. We'll see who this kid is. Looks young because he was born in 1998, which makes sense. He's a rookie. He's a center. Wait, he's a center. Right? They had him listed as a defenseman. All right, now he's a center. I don't know. Again, this is the point. I don't know who this guy is, but I know that he scored last night, and it was his first NHL goal. And congratulations to him. And then he's got the same name. Yeah, he's a center. I'm sorry. Yeah, okay. So we've got a center named Josh Dunn, who very well could play out of line with winger Josh Doan. Have you watched the Sabres yet this year? Like, how you? If I read these names to you, how you doing on recognition? Josh Dunn, just heard of him yesterday. Tyson Kozak, sounds kind of familiar. I've seen his name a couple times this year. Feel like I might have seen it last year. Peyton Krebs, I remember, was part of the Eichel trade. Yuri Kulich, Czech Republic, born in '04. Is that this year's rookie? That might be this year's rookie. Ryan McLeod, kind of remember him. He's been around a little bit. Josh Norris, that was part of is that the Dylan Cousins trade? And he's hurt, right? Month to month or something. Noah Ostland, no idea. Tage Thompson, I know that one. Zach Benson, looks like he's 6. I know him. Mason Geertsen, never heard of him. Jordan Greenway, traded for him several years ago. Beck Mallenstein, I've seen that name before in the last year or two. Jason Zucker, scored twice in a row when I was in the car the other day. Also, I think he was around last year. Justin Danforth, never heard of him. Josh Doan, son of Shane, got it. Carson Meyer, no idea. Jack Quinn, young prospect, goal scorer, small. Alex Tuck came in the Eichel trade and is from Syracuse, right? All right. Defenseman, Jacob Bryson, heard of him. Bowen Byram, remember that trade. Rasmus Dahlin, number 1 overall pick. Kesselring, Michael Kesselring, I keep hearing that name, don't know anything about him. Owen Power, number 1 pick. Matthias Samuelsson, guy who they acquired at some point, signed to a long-term deal. People seemed happy about it. I don't know that I've ever seen him play 10 seconds of hockey. And Connor Timmins, I've never heard of. Your goaltenders are Colton Ellis. Young, new, I got that. Alexander Georgiev, no idea. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, I know him. Alex Lyon has been fun. So that's kind of where I am. But you can't just have players on the team with the same name. No Josh Doan, Josh Dunn while I'm trying to play catch-up here. Not cool, man. Not cool. Sabres lost. Cross that off. I don't know how I didn't know this yesterday going into the game. We talked a lot yesterday about the 18-inning Game 3 of the World Series out in L.A. Did not know until yesterday that Brad Paisley, the country musician / guitar player, well-respected guitar player, despite being just kind of like a tiny little country guy. Like real guitar people are like, yeah, he's a real guitar player. He he sang the national anthem at the 18-inning game the other night. It's only the second 18-inning game in World Series history. And the last time there was an 18-inning game in the World Series, Brad Paisley also sang the national anthem that night. I don't have anything else on that. I just think that's interesting, and I didn't mention it yesterday, and I felt like a jerk for not saying it once I found it out. I'm going to take a timeout. I've been talking for too long. Was this Joe from GR Morning Show is apparently going to Game 6. Well, good for Joe from the GR Morning Show. If he's a Blue Jays fan, I get it. Even if he's not. I mean, I get the World Series being this close to home. The World Series will be decided a 20-minute helicopter ride from here. I don't have a helicopter, and I don't have access to tickets, but the World Series is going to be decided right over there. On a clear day, you can see the building next to, from here, not my house, but if you're on the water, you can see the building next to the building where the World Series is going to be awarded, decided, whatever the word is. You don't get a lot of opportunities to have it happen this close to home, so I get going. And again, I get going to this game. I don't get paying $1,000 to go to Game 1 when it's just Game 1. It could be the greatest game of all time. It's still just Game 1. Paying to get in the door to be there when the trophy is awarded, I can see. So good for Joe. All right, I'm going to play a song and take a timeout because I've been talking for too long. And I don't even have a water bottle. I just did. That was amazing. That's amazing what I just did. Let's talk for like 50 straight minutes without a sip of water, without even thinking about water. Wow. I'm impressed. I'm impressed by me. Not really. What do we want to hear? We've got lots of options now. We'll bounce around a little bit. All right, quick timeout. We'll be right back. I'm Brad Ryder. It's Ryder Radio. Ryder Radio. There we go. Episode 198. We're halfway through it already. You believe it? So I'm playing around with ideas for what to do for the show on Friday because can't be here. I have to leave right at 10. So I can pre-record something, and it could be just audio, but that's the easier way to do it. Is just do an audio thing and not worry about video at all. But then there's also the idea that maybe I could just spend 2 hours doing a show, let's say tonight, and save it to play on Friday and make that episode 200. And I was thinking, what would make it look spectacular? And I've got all these new toys here that I've been playing with from a video standpoint. I was thinking for the 200th episode. All right, if you're watching on YouTube, you're about to get a treat. I'm thinking it could just look like this. Just fireworks going off, celebrating the 200th episode. Maybe we could have some graphics in the middle of the screen, like here, saying celebrating 200 episodes. We'll be back live on Monday or something. And just let that stream for 2 hours while I'm riding in a bus through New York, Pennsylvania, and Ohio. Destination BG. I think that looks pretty good. And I could even leave this music on. I can actually turn the audio on. I think there's audio with the fireworks. Let's see if we can get the explosions going. There you go. That looks like a 200th episode. Why isn't the show just this? This is so much better with my face. My fat face is only in the little corner. And then above me is all the fireworks. It's a little loud. Turn it down. Or you turn it way up. No, I don't want to do that. But this is what the show could look like all the time. This is better, I think. All kinds of options. I can put anything I want on the screen behind me. Yeah, I have a feeling. All right, I'm going to hide this because it's a little sneak peek for a few of you. I'm going to turn the sound off, too. Knock it off. Fireworks. That's fun. That's fun knowing that exists. What can we do for visuals? I don't know. Put a 12-hour fireworks video behind the show the whole time? All right, I think I'm just going to leave that there. So anytime we want to jump to it, we can just jump to me and fireworks. And I can add any music I want to it, any non-protected music. But I've got stuff. Like that was Jazzy Bed. It'll be Halloween. Right? Today is when, yeah, okay. So show 200. I can't be here, but I can pre-record. And it's Halloween. So maybe not fireworks. Fireworks are the wrong vibe. Oh man, now I want to put. Well, all right. So music. I've got something called Spooky Bed. Can't listen to that for 2 hours. Or maybe you can't. Nobody's gonna watch for 2 hours. I just need there to be a thing, like a placeholder, so that if you tune in to episode 200, there's something there. Doesn't even have to be anything you stick around for. Again, a lot of thoughts in my head about how to deal with this, but the one thing I know is it's nearly impossible to do a live show for show 200. And I don't like screwing up the numbers. Speaking of screwing up the numbers, I'm realizing right now it says episode 197 on my screen, and it should say episode 198. So I'm going to fix that. We're having fun today. Change that to 198. Then hit OK. Switch that back. There we go. Now it's episode 198. Keep forgetting to do that. I just started numbering the episodes on the screen within the past week. But if you missed a week, and like Arbo said he missed a week. Arbo, you got to go to the YouTube feed. The YouTube feed's a whole different thing now. There's like a cool kind of graphic vibe. It's got the colors matching. I now have my rugby shirt hanging behind me with the same colors as the show. Got into rugby shirts a little bit late last week, early this week. Wore a rugby shirt on the show. Thought it might be a uniform. Thought about this. Thought about how it could be if we went like full video production instead of just me making it up at night and then turning it on and seeing how it goes with the video stuff. If I had like a real person or people and open to the show where I come in dressed in whatever and then remove that and then put on the rugby shirt like Mr. Rogers put on his sweater, and then here's the leap. Does the show go from being Writer Radio to Mr. Writer's Neighborhood? Because I've been thinking about Mr. Writer's Neighborhood quite a bit lately. You know what I should do for the 200th episode? I think this might be the answer. The 200th episode can be all the things that we didn't get to in the first 200 episodes of the show, because I've got notebooks full of things like this one that I intend to talk about. See if you can read this. It says, my 9-year-old son thinks he can beat Ken Griffey Jr. in a 40-yard dash. That's a whole series of ideas. But that's the opening premise. All right, enough of this song. Jesus. It's not scary. Okay. So I've got, all right, that's this notebook. Right from here. All right, this is just about football. Oh, no, this was a show. 12/9/24. Rams 44. Oh, 24. We weren't even doing this show yet. That's too old. Not that. Not that. Gonna get Serge and Rob Baker together. Maybe with Dave B. Who's that? Polanco, probably? Yeah. Round robin tournament. No, that's about baseball. Sales initiative. 5 sponsors times 6 months. Create survey to determine prices. Become a member. Get a referral code. Ambassador. Record interviews independently of this. There's some UB football stuff. I can rip that up. My overall point is that I've got probably 5 different piles of things like this notebook where I just had ideas that I've written down for what to do with the podcast to make it better, to improve it, to focus it. Here I have 30 different potential segments or entire separate podcasts to come out of this. This one's fairly recent. One of them is people also ask. I've talked about people also ask on Google. When I Google something, it's always fun to see what else people are asking. Like the other day, I typed in Sabres score. I wanted to see what the score of the Sabres game was on Google. And people were also asking, are the Sabres eliminated from the playoffs? Have the Buffalo Sabres ever won? Why is Buffalo the Sabres? And how many Stanley Cups have the Sabres been to? The answer is no, they're not eliminated yet. Have they ever won? They've won some games. Why is it the Sabres? Because it's a weapon of both offense and defense. I've always liked that story. That's good. How the Sabres became the Sabres. And how many cups have the Sabres been to? 2. It's 2. They lost both. I was there for one of them. But I like that. So that's number one. I don't want to reveal too much, but if I were to take all of these, because I've got piles of stuff. There's one under here. There's a pile of books, but underneath is a stack of papers that were probably ripped out of a notebook. There are yellow legal pads full of stuff. There are various notebooks like this. And maybe the 200th episode is me just doing rejected concepts, or not even rejected, but not fully developed concepts from the first 200 episodes, first 199 episodes of Writer Radio, all while fireworks are going off behind me, or while like scary monsters are behind me. Let me see if I can find something to try that look. Bear with me. We're just winging it today. It's Writer Radio. It's episode 198, and I'm explaining. There's a lot at the end of this week, and right now this is the hump day, as they would call it, and I'm getting through the hump with just little bits and chunks of things. I've got a bunch of, like I said, 4-minute things I want to do. So that's what's happening right now. But now I'm curious about monsters everywhere. Typing monsters everywhere. I want a video of monsters everywhere. There's Thomas there's a Thomas the Train song called Monsters Everywhere. That's gonna hurt. All right. Let's put Michael Myers video loop. See if that exists. I can just have Michael Myers. There we go. What's this? Halloween window projection. 2 hours and 50. Okay, there we go. So if I put this up, it's kind of like I'm scooping myself here. Because episode 200 can look great if it's a Halloween episode with Halloween stuff behind me. Oh, this is going to work great. This is great. This is what episode 200 can look like. All right, here we go. I'm going to switch it again. It can just be this. Where I'm hanging out. And then maybe we use Spooky Bed. So we're coming up with episode 200 right now during episode 198. I'm double dipping. What's it called? Doing two things at once. Multitasking. I'm multitasking. We're doing a show that's planning for a different show. But yeah, we got this. There's like skeletons and things that'll be back here. Ghosts. Oh yeah, yeah. This is right. This is gonna work. All right. So episode 200 will look like that. Episode 198, we go back to looking like this. On this list, people also ask. So the idea here is to have actual segments to the show, like, oh, it's time to do this, pull this trick out. And I've got old ones, like Truth Detector. I love the Truth Detector. It was a cornerstone of the show many years ago when I was doing it at night on GR. And it absolutely should come back. But I haven't set up like the big voice guy doing it, or even me as the big voice guy, or as I guess I could use use an AI voice to be my big voice guy, so I don't have to hire a big voice guy. I could also get one of my friends to be my big voice guy, but I have to write down all the things I want them to say and then edit them all together and then create all the segments. But again, one-man show. So it's like, here's a bunch of ideas that I never get to because it's time to do a show. We should move past that. 200 episodes in, it's time. It's time to move past that and start doing some of these things. Trivia, reaction videos, youth sports, knee-jerk reactions, Reddit hypothetical situation. That's a really good one. Fun with AI, funniest things I saw this week. Uninvited guest. This is a good one. Uninvited guest, or third wheel, as I've called it in my head, is me taking other shows, podcasts, whatever, playing them, and then just jumping into the conversation. It happens all the time. I'm listening to something on the radio, or I'm listening to a podcast, and I just want to be a part of the conversation. I can just take their stuff, play it, and then talk to them as if they're listening to me. It's on the list. Uninvited guest. Rock music list, plays of the week. Today in history, movie scenes, artist and album of the day, TV theme songs, the lost art of the TV theme song. Talking about this the other day. Remember when TV theme songs had lyrics? The last one I can remember that's like that was Big Bang Theory when they had the Bare Naked Ladies song. But like, think back to the 60s, 70s. Here's a story of a man named Brady. We got the whole show laid out for us in 30 seconds, and then we're ready. Don't do that anymore. It's sad. I've got this music listography book that I intend to use. It's just got all these like prompts for lists that I feel like I should be doing with our senior music correspondent, Josh Gregory. We've been talking about it for a year and haven't. It's dumb. Business and restaurant of the week. Is Coldplay really that bad? And Coldplay is the blank. But like, I listened to Coldplay on headphones the other day when I was falling in love with the Cars and what they do on headphones. And sort of that era, that just the early to mid 80s, sort of as things were becoming synth heavy. And that music all has sounded cheesy and dated to me for the last 40 years. But put on headphones and listen to anything by the Cars or anything by Talking Heads. And you'll be like, oh, I get what they were going for back then. And there's stuff to be discovered. So there's something there. And in that, I listened to Coldplay. Now, I did pick the only Coldplay song that I know I like, which is Yellow. But it sounded great on headphones. I don't think I'd ever done it on headphones before. That was good. First-time listener, trivia in the form of song lyrics, examining album covers, headphone songs, walk-up music. F it, I'll try it. That refers to Arby's steak nuggets. I'm not anti-Arby's like the world seems to be. I do recognize that it's not everyone's favorite. I do recognize you might have to plot out some bathroom time afterward, but once in a while, Arby's sounds good to me. I cannot imagine who greenlit the idea of pushing steak nuggets on people from Arby's. Like, know your role. Like, know your. It's a lack of self-awareness, I think, by Arby's. Like, I get that they've got the meats. This is the meat they shouldn't display. Don't put steak and nugget together. I don't like it as a phrase, and I like it less when you put Arby's in front of it. But then there's a part of me that says I should do a segment called F It, I'll try it. That sounds terrible. I'll do it. Brought to you by the same idiot who ate a bunch of pistachios in Minnesota and ate a bunch of donuts in a van on the way to Kent. I'll eat steak nuggets. I'll eat Arby's steak nuggets. I don't care. I'll eat the cat poop. So those are just 30 of the ideas I have on those two pages. But I've got like books and books of this stuff. I think I might have to hit it up. Oh, I love this. The vibe of this Halloween thing. Look at this. Look at these little skulls popping up. Oh, I have to do full screen. Hold on. If I make that full screen, then we won't see the stuff on the side that's distracting. And now it just looks like I'm hanging out in front of your neighbor's garage on Halloween. You know those projectors they've got? I think that's what this video is for. It's meant to be projected on a house while kids are trick-or-treating. I'm going to miss trick-or-treating again this year. Feels like the third time in 4 years that I've missed trick-or-treating. Although it has evolved. The oldest is going to be off with his older friends. The middle one's going to be off with his middle friends. And it'll just be my wife and the 9-year-old walking around together in search of all the candy in the world. They went to a candy thing yesterday. Trunk or treat event at the local high school. We're 2 days before the big giveaway happens, and we're already loaded up. And my wife really severely limits their access to the candy. So it's like they go out and they collect as much as they can, and then she just takes it from them and redistributes it when they behave, which is never. So I'm going to be eating a lot of candy. It seems. Because we're already loaded up, and it's not even Halloween yet. All right, so there's that. There was a point. Drew and Ken Griffey Jr. I don't feel like doing. Oh, I'm excited about a couple of. Whoa, what's going on here? Oh, a commercial. See, that ruins it. It's cool when there's all these skulls dancing behind me, but when it turns into a video for a commercial for Adobe Acrobat Pro, kind of takes away the vibe that we were going for the Halloween thing. All right, I'll keep that in mind. 2 hours of skulls is not really 2 hours of skulls and ghosts and goblins and ghouls and jack-o'-lanterns and things. We'll figure it out. Episode 200 will be spectacular. On tape, but spectacular. All right, enough with the song. God, who turned this back on? Me? Was it you? It wasn't anybody. I'm the only one here. It had to be me. It had to be me. What do we got here? 11:27. All right. Don't want to do that. Excited about two things I just found out. Well, first of all, I knew about this one, but I'm excited I've got somebody to go with now. James McCann is a stand-up comic. He's a chubby little Australian guy who's really, really funny and is going to be at Helium this weekend. He's doing 2 shows. Typically, when they come in, they'll do like 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday, or maybe like 1 Thursday, 2 Friday, 2 Saturday. He is doing 2 Saturday and 1 Sunday at 8:15. And I have made the executive decision that I'm not missing this. I can't do Saturday because I don't trust, even if the second show is like 10:30 p.m., I don't trust that I'll be back from Bowling Green in time to comfortably attend. So I couldn't find anybody to go with me on a Sunday night. The show is at 8:30. You have to be there at 7:45. The Bills are playing at 4:25 against the Chiefs. So there's a little bit of a sacrifice being made here. But I'm going to do it because when you go to Helium, not only do you get to witness comedy in its best possible setting. Because I've been to arena shows and they can be fun. Saw Shane Gillis there not long ago. It was great, but that would have been better at Shays, and it would have been even better at Helium. Helium is designed for this. It's a room set up psychologically to trap all the comedy in there, to trap all the humor. Low ceiling is important. It's a better vibe. It's more intimate. And I can't wait to see. I couldn't pass on the opportunity to see this guy, but I couldn't find anybody willing to go on a Sunday night. I did. Shout out to my man Mike, who's going to go with me. The good news is you buy a general admission ticket, so I bought one for myself. And then I convinced my friend Mike to go too. So we're going to go. I'm going to miss the end of the Bills-Chiefs game. It'll be on the radio, or maybe we'll go at halftime so we're downtown so we can watch the game there. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But a sacrifice had to be made, but it was important because in this era of like YouTube stuff, but all social media, all streaming things. Not TikTok. I don't have TikTok, but the other ones, Instagram and YouTube Shorts and Facebook Reels or whatever it's called, like all that stuff. I can't escape. If you like comedy, like I like comedy, I like the whole like Kill Tony universe. Not all of it is great, but like the vibe is cool. I like all of it. And he's part of that. So he pops up everywhere. And if you click on a couple videos, you're just going to get fed these comedians all the time. He's one of them that gets fed to me all the time. He's funny all the time. And also when you go to a show at Helium, there's a decent chance you end up meeting the person. And I like, get a picture taken or whatever. I like that a lot. So I couldn't pass on this. So I bought a ticket by myself. And now I found somebody to go with. I'm the type of person who can do things alone. I don't mind. Obviously, I'm doing a whole show. This is episode 200 or 198 of me doing a thing by myself. Oh, nobody wants to do it with me? Okay, I'll just do it. I want to do it, so I'm going to do it. There was a time when I thought it was weird to go to a restaurant by yourself. Then I read gas meters for a couple summers and realized I'm by myself and I'm hungry. They have tables. Why do I have to sit in a truck to eat just because I'm by myself? That's stupid. I also, somewhere around then, was like, well, if I can eat at a restaurant by myself, I certainly can go to a movie by myself. That one's not even weird at all. I watch most movies alone anyway at home. So why can't I go sit in one of their comfy chairs and watch the new movie that came out by myself? Maybe it's a little weird to do at 8 o'clock on a Friday night when it's jam-packed and you just need one seat. Maybe it's a little weird. But the reality is, you're watching a movie. I don't want you talking anyway. Like, I could go with you, but we're going to talk about the movie after the movie. That's really the advantage of seeing a movie with someone, is the discussion afterward. It's not in real time. So, movie by myself, no problem. Concert by myself, no problem. Music concert. Because especially if it's somewhere local, I'm going to run into somebody I know. So many of the friends that I have are because of the media I enjoy, whether it's I've got my sports friends and I've got my music friends and I've got my movie friends. Like, there's having a mutual appreciation for pop culture things is kind of what has helped establish my friend groups. So even if nobody's available to go see the Dead South at Ani DeFranco's church right before COVID, I went, I ran into people, a couple people I knew a little bit, and then just made friends with other people I didn't know, because they're the kind of people who go out on a weeknight to go see a band that hardly anybody knows about. Comedy seems a little different. Comedy, just going and laughing by myself, doesn't seem right. It feels like there should be somebody there with me. So again, shout out to Mike for saying yes. Mike doesn't say yes to a lot of things. Mike is one of these guys who, if he's not interested, he will just tell you he's not interested. That's it. Hey, I was thinking about going to see this band. I don't like that band. I know, but they're good, and you would like them. I don't want to see them. Okay, Mike. I promise. I promise you'd enjoy it. No, thanks. Don't like them. He's one of those guys, which is fine. But I thought he'd say no to this, but he said yes to this. And I said, oh, do you know James McCann? And he said no. So maybe Mike's turning over a new leaf. I like that. So James McCann is coming, and I'm going to go see that. I just saw today that, and I don't think I'm going to go to it, but the Lemonheads are back. And that's a band that, I mean, I can name 4 songs they've ever done, but I just like their vibe. Anything I've ever heard from them sounds good. They look good. It's fun. It's just their overall presentation is good. They've got a new album for the first time in like 20 years, and they're playing Town Ballroom on November 11th. That's the kind of thing where if someone said, hey, Brad, I've got 2 tickets for the Lemonheads at Town Ballroom. Do you want to go with me? I would say yes. I'm not going to pursue it. I'm not going to buy a ticket, but it's one of those, like that level of thing. That's where I'm different from Mike, who I was just describing. If somebody says, hey, I like this band, I'm going to see them, will you come? Okay. Especially if you're vetted. If you're already in the inner circle of people that I talk about music with on a regular basis, and you tell me I might like this show, I believe you, and I'll go. Comedians in general, same way. If somebody said, hey, do you want to go see this guy you never heard of? Yeah, I do. I say yes to stuff. Other people aren't the same way. But Lemonheads, where is this? I've got too many things open on the screen, and I don't know that I'm going to be able to find it. Every one that I click slows the computer down more, so I have to guess correctly. Be careful. Choose wisely, Brad. Choose wisely. I swear it's up here somewhere. That's not it. That's not it. Saudi Arabia is not building a World Cup stadium on top of a skyscraper. We'll get to that. Oh. All right, well, I can't find the Lemonheads thing, but they're coming. And they've got a new album, and Evan Dando's still the singer. He's charming. All right, this is a story I didn't read. I just saw the headline. I clicked it. We're gonna learn about it together. NFL, this is from Entertainment Weekly. Is Entertainment Weekly and Yahoo, are they like friends now? Because it looks like the Entertainment Weekly font, but then it says yahoo.com/entertainment. Could go either way. It's Yahoo or it's Entertainment Weekly. Seems real. NFL announces Sting will headline Super Bowl branded concert amid Bad Bunny controversy. What's this going to be? The Every Breath You Take singer will perform in San Francisco as part of a 2-night extravaganza 2 days before Bad Bunny's halftime show. Super Bowl branded concert February 6th at the Palace of Fine Arts in San Francisco. It was announced by the NFL's hospitality provider On Location. It'll take place 2 days before the Super Bowl kicks off at Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara. Sting set will be part of a broader Super Bowl 60 Studio 60 event described as a weekend of unforgettable music entertainment at one of San Francisco's most iconic venues. Further details about the concert are scarce, though the promoter's website promises meet and greet opportunities with NFL legends and current players alike. Additionally, a second night of Studio 60 festivities will occur in the same location the following evening, February 7th, though no performers have been announced for night 2. Tickets for Sting show start at $750. Okay. The news comes in the wake of unusually intense criticism of the Super Bowl halftime show, which will be headlined by Bad Bunny. The NFL's decision to hire him elicited harsh reactions from conservative political figures, including House Speaker Mike Johnson, Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, and President Trump. Despite the controversy, Roger Goodell defended the decision, says he's confident it's going to be a great show. I'm not sure we've ever selected an artist where we didn't have some blowback or criticism. I think it's going to be exciting and a united moment. Sting performed at the halftime show in 2003, co-headlining with Shania Twain and No Doubt. That performance ended with Sting performing the Police hit Message in a Bottle alongside Gwen Stefani and her bandmates. Sting isn't the only music superstar headlining a major concert in the Bay Area during that weekend. Earlier this month, there was an announcement that Chris Stapleton, country star Chris Stapleton, will perform at the Bill Graham Civic Auditorium in San Francisco February 7th, the night before the Super Bowl. So I guess we can rule him out for night 2 of this Studio 60 festivity thing. All right, so we're coddling. We're coddling a bit by bringing in an old white man to make sure that people feel safer. Well, that's good. Good to know. All right, I can close that one. Every time I close something, I'm afraid everything's going to freeze and the show's going to end, and I don't want that to happen because it's only 11:38 and it's episode 198, and I promised 22 more minutes. I am going to play a song to get us through while I figure out what happens next as we continue with Writer Radio, episode 198. All these songs, and I keep clicking the same things. I've got all these new things to play for you. Let's hold on. Is this yes? I'm going to just try something. It is. That's yes. Do I want to hear that song? Not right now. How about Murray by Pete Yorn? Yeah, okay. We'll do that. I'll be right back. It's Writer Radio. It must be so surprising when the show comes back. You just don't know what's going to happen, do you? There's no rhyme or reason to it. I say I'm going to play a song. I play 2 songs. Sometimes I play 3 songs. Sometimes something happens. I'll play a 4th song. You'll be like, what the hell's going on? But then you hear, dun, 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 here comes the show. It's going to be exciting. It's not exciting to me because I know what's going to happen the whole time. I already got the reveal. It's typically like, oh, I'm ready to come back, except this part of the computer's not working. I can't find the story I wanted to talk about. And that is the case, because what I wanted to talk about is the passing of John Lodge at age 82. He's a singer and bassist for the Moody Blues. That last song you just heard was Your Wildest Dreams, early to mid 80s release from them, and a song I always found super cool. The article I read, that was the first song listed. They said the Moody Blues, known for Your Wildest Dreams and 2 other songs, one of which I kind of recognize, but didn't mention what I would say if you were going to name the definitive Moody Blues songs, I thought of Your Wildest Dreams as like my little offshoot one. Like that's my cool mid-'80s one. They're known for Nights in White Satin, number 1, right? Isn't that number 1? Moody Blues, Nights in White Satin. And then after that, I think it's Tuesday Afternoon. And then it's probably a tie between the one you just heard, Your Wildest Dreams, and I Know You're Out There, which came out in like 88, 87, something like that. That was even later than Your Wildest Dreams. Your Wildest Dreams was kind of like a bounce back hit. And then 2 years later was I Know You're Out There somewhere. I know you. It was all right. But I've always liked Your Wildest Dreams. I just think that's a cool song. And he will be missed. John Lodge. John Lodge passes away suddenly at the age of 82. He of the Moody Blues. Can't find the story. It's up here. I've got probably 15 tabs open, and my computer does not like when I have 15 tabs open. So everything I click, it's kind of a crapshoot. Like, is everything going to freeze? Is that going to open? I did find this one. This one's open. Cam Scadaboo suffered. So did you see that injury? It was terrible. It was gross. Zach Bond does what I've never been 100% clear on what hip drop tackle means. It's in the last couple of years that they have banned that in the same way that they ban the horse collar. It's like way too many injuries when people do this to bring somebody down. It sure looked like what I've had described to me as a hip drop tackle, but I've heard nothing of it since the injury. It seemed like a fine, certainly. I don't know about suspension, but something. It looked like the exact thing you're not allowed to do. And Scadaboo's leg did the exact thing that legs don't do. Well, sometimes they do, but then they don't work anymore. There's a shot when he goes down, and at one point he like lifts his leg up to, I don't know if it's to show it to somebody or to, I don't know. He's kind of in a panicky, shocky type of situation anyway. But he lifts up his leg, and where his foot should be, there's not a foot because it's dangling and out of view. It's disgusting. The positive on that was, well, okay, so maybe nothing broke and it's just dislocated, and there's a lot of damage. There's a lot to be done. As it turns out, everything broke. The headline from Pro Football Talk, published this morning at 8:38 a.m., Cam Scadaboo suffered a fractured fibula, ruptured ligament, in addition to dislocated ankle. He went immediately from Lincoln Financial Field to the operating room after dislocating his ankle. That won't be the only injury he's recovering from. Ian Rappaport says Scadaboo also fractured his fibula and ruptured the deltoid ligament in his ankle. Team said all went well with the surgery to replace his injuries. I mean, to repair? You don't replace an injury, you're repairing it. Whatever. And Rappaport reports he's expected to be ready for the team's off-season work. Slow down, Ian. Yeah, no, he's fine. All went well. All is positive. We could say those things. But he's expected. You want to place a wager on that? Ready? You expect him to be ready for their off-season work. I'm not saying he won't be. I'm saying that's wholly unreasonable to expect that a guy whose foot fell off on national television got it popped back on and should be good to go for OTAs. That's really what you're saying? I can't abide by that. I would take a bet if Ian Rappaport wanted to bet. I understand that you expect it. How much do you expect it? That's just a weird way to put it. It's fine to say it all went well and things are on track for him to get back as quickly as possible or something like that. He's expected to be ready for the team's offseason work. I don't know if that's a Rappaport problem or if that's a Josh Alper, who wrote the article for Pro Football Talk, problem. But either way, that is not the way to phrase that. Oh, yeah, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. He's a running back. He's a rookie running back whose foot disconnected from where it's supposed to be, right in front of us. You're telling me he's good for OTAs? Come on, Ian or Josh. He's placed on injured reserve Tuesday. He had 110 carries for 410 yards and 5 touchdowns. And Tyrone Tracy and Devin Singletary will handle the running back work for the Giants in his absence. He's a fun player. His name is fun. He runs people over. He looks like the kind of guy who's going to, play 4 years in the league before saying, that's enough, smashing my face into people. But he gets halfway through a season and his foot falls off, and now Rappaport tells me he'll just be back. I hope he is. I hope he's back in time. He's a fun player, and I hope he gets every opportunity to help the Giants move forward. Very exciting, despite the fact that they're not any good right now. Having Dart and Scadaboo together was a lot of fun for Giants fans. Dart is still a lot of fun. Baby Josh. Dart and May are both worth watching big time right now. We'll see where it goes, but they're both showing signs of being in that next group of top-notch quarterbacks. Can't quite put them there yet, but by the end of this season, maybe you can with either or both of them. I like to be careful. I like to watch out for the 1 year. Hey, he did it as a rookie. Jaden Daniels is not quite what he was this year, or is not this year quite what he was last year. Injuries are a part of it, but looking at him and the, kind of waifishness of his body and the remarkable similarities to Robert Griffin Jr., or Robert Griffin III, excuse me. I never met Robert Griffin Jr., but that's probably RG3's dad, right? That's how the math works on that. You look at him and it's like, yeah, this is great. Is that going to work? Can you sustain that? He looks so slight, and he's had trouble staying on the field this year. C.J. Stroud came out of the gate great with Houston 2 years ago, and then last year he wasn't remotely similar because people had film, and it's a process. But you come out, you're a star right away, and then you got to kind of settle in and figure out how you can continue to be a star. So, is what we've seen out of Drake May in the last month an indication that the Bills are going to have to deal with him as a massive problem in the division for the next 10 years? I don't know. It's not a sign that they're not going to, but you're going to need to see it a little bit over time. I'm convinced that that's a team that has a quarterback and a coach now, so heads up. It's the only other one in the division right now with both a head coach that I fear and a quarterback that I can see myself fearing. And I fear right now, like the way he's playing right now, it is not a given at all that the Bills can go into Foxborough and beat them, especially considering that they lost to them at home. But I'm not ready to put him on the, in the top tier yet but he's playing in the top tier right now. And then to flip it around the other way, it's like, oh, Baker Mayfield, that didn't work out. Darnold, that didn't work out. Well, guess what? They're both good quarterbacks in the league. You want to call Mayfield an MVP candidate? Go ahead. I'm not quite there on him, but there's a reason the dude was taken first overall in the pick where Josh Allen was drafted. There were questions about all of them. People had to make decisions. And guess what? Let him settle in. He was drafted because he can play football. Let's use Baker as the example. He was drafted because he could play. He's fiery, he's a leader, he's a competitor, and he can play. And it didn't quite work out right away. Although, can we even say that? They went to the playoffs. They don't ever do that. They beat the Steelers in the playoffs. They don't ever do that. And then they got caught up in the Deshaun Watson insanity and let Baker go. And now Baker's one of the better players in the league, one of the guys you trust. His team certainly trusts him. But if you judged him based on what he did right at the beginning of his career, you wouldn't think that. Here he is. Darnold bounced around. He's on his fourth team too. Right? Jets, Panthers, Vikings, Seahawks. And now, and again, we saw him at the end of last year. I don't 100% trust him. I don't think he, as it turns out, should have been taken ahead of Josh Allen, who went 7th in that draft. Or even ahead of Lamar Jackson, who went 32nd in that draft. Definitely ahead of Josh Rosen. That one didn't work out at all. But of those 5 quarterbacks that were taken, look at how differently we look at them compared to their rookie year. Rookie years? It was their rookie year. It was the same year. They had one rookie year. So the 2018 season. There's an evolution that takes place. So I don't know. Brian Kelly story. New ESPN report details one sad reason why Brian Kelly was fired by LSU. Can you guess what it is? I'll give you a hint. If you listened to the conversation I had with Bob Gaughan yesterday, we both brought it up. They say one of the reasons he was fired was the fact that he, quote, never seemed to fit in. And it goes back to what Bob brought up. From his disastrous introductory speech at an LSU basketball game in which he pronounced family with a fake Southern drawl that was thicker than rue. Kelly just never seemed to fit in, and he wasn't blind to that. This offseason, Kelly worked with a D.C.-based image consultant to try to improve his public persona. The report went on to describe how Kelly's relationship with Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry was crumbling prior to LSU's decision to fire him, one which Landry reportedly was at least somewhat involved in. Can you imagine? I get that state is right in the title, but you think you're a football coach, and the governor's like, I don't like him. He's got to go. What a crazy world. This is from that report. On Saturday, Kelly even seemed to fall out of favor with Governor Jeff Landry, who in the wake of the A&M loss trolled LSU on social media about raising football ticket prices for 2026. Landry was then right in the middle of the discussions that led to the school separating from Kelly, according to a source close to the situation. In the end, Kelly didn't win enough and tried too hard to prove to LSU fans that he was one of them. Yeah, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. You can be fake. And again, this is just outlining what Bob said yesterday, but you can come in and be like, I don't know about this guy. But if you're winning, you let it slide. This is the Mike McDaniel situation in Miami as well. Mike McDaniel, you can be super weird, super quirky. You don't look or sound or act or dress or anything like everybody else who's ever coached football ever. You don't fit with them. You're not one of them. You're not like them. And it's fine when you're winning. But as soon as things go south, and now you're just the weird guy. And as soon as things go south at LSU, now you're just the guy who faked a Southern accent or a Cajun accent at your intro press conference at a basketball game. Everyone winced. Everyone in the building, everyone who saw it on TV, heard it on the radio. Like, ugh, that's gross. That's gross how this guy who was just coaching at Notre Dame, who coached at Grand Valley State and Central Michigan and Cincinnati, suddenly sounds like he's from the Bayou for one word and then goes back to sounding like himself. Like, it was gross. So it's just like little red flag. And then you wait, and when the losing comes in, then that little red flag becomes just a flashing. This guy was never like us anyway. He not like us. He not like us. All right, it's 12:01. I could stop. I'm contractually obligated. I'm not contractually obligated to continue speaking anymore. But I do have all these things on my screen, and if I don't get to them, this is, again, going to be one of those days where I have to reboot the computer. I should just use the newer computer. But that involves a whole bunch of setup, too. One-man show. It's tough. I don't have tech people behind the scenes getting the other laptop ready to pop in here, and we're good to go. That's a whole day of converting everything over to that, and then I'll still be missing stuff. So I'm just going to keep fighting through this. I did have a great moment where I started talking about this and never finished within the last couple days. On this laptop, it's a massive hard drive, right? The C drive is huge. It should be all I ever need. And I know if I got the computer now, this would be a small hard drive, but there's plenty there, believe me. But at some point a couple of years ago, it's just full. Why is it full? I don't use the computer to do enough stuff. Why on earth is my C drive full? And I checked and checked and checked. Couldn't find any way to clear up memory. Finally, at some point, maybe last week, I was doing one of these things where it's a day where the computer's just acting like a jerk. I got to get rid of something. I got to do something. I got to make it, speed it up. Get rid of something I don't use. I found a treasure trove of garbage. Apparently, every single time that I do anything with audio, which is always, like even before I was doing this show, when I'm using the computer, more often than not, I'm recording something or editing something. There's all these audio projects that I've done. Again, the computer's probably 10 years old. So it's like 10 years of audio projects happening on this computer. There's a folder where like a backup version of all of those are being saved. So everything I've ever done, I've got an external hard drive. That's where I intentionally save things. It keeps the space good, but somehow it's filling. It was automatically backing up every audio project. And I'm talking like big, 2 hours long, multi-track, everything I've ever done was being stored in a folder and literally was taking up 2/3 of the hard drive. I got rid of that and things are much better now. So big breakthrough moment for me. I'm constantly fighting against, I've talked about the Google thing, constantly fighting against, bumping up against full storage. Oh, you need to upgrade. I'm not upgrading. I don't need all the stuff that you're saving for me. Get rid of it. But I got to find a way to do it. So that I solved the computer problem with memory. I still have to solve the Google problem with memory. And then I think I want to get rid of all the text messages in my phone. I think that would help too. Those just go on forever. I don't need them. I need the last week's worth. Everything else can go. How do I do that? Maybe I'll figure that out. Maybe that's something to do on a bus. Got a 4.5-hour bus trip. Radio show will be doing itself at that point on Friday. Maybe that's the time. All right, what else is on my screen? We're going to go through the stuff on the screen, then we're going to wrap up the show. All right, this one I can close. That's just a bunch of headlines. Don't need it. This one is about Syracuse. What's going on in Syracuse? Oh, this is a Syracuse story about the exhibition game that took place between the Bulls and the Orange at the arena the other night. Orange came out on top 76-66. But the main reason I say this is I love early internet. I love some of the names and titles and things that came out of early internet. And back when message boards and like chat rooms and whatever were the hot commodity online, every team and every, program had one. There'd be like a real one. Like, let's pretend it's UB. There'd be like ubbulls.com is going on. And that's where all the official stuff is. But then there'd be like UB Bull Run is just some guy, probably a former student who started the thing, was a fan of the team. And you get like the community version of information. So they're posting, they're blogging, they're posting, whatever. UB Bull Run that's fine. But I like the fun ones. Like there was a Boston Red Sox thing that I'm sure still exists called the Sons of Sam Horn. Sam Horn is a not very noteworthy Red Sox player. Played for the Orioles too, I think. Late 80s, maybe early 90s. But the whole Red Sox community, despite the fact that Sam Horn is not a very relevant part of Red Sox history, Sons of Sam Horn became a thing. There's a Syracuse outlet like that has my favorite name, and it refers back to Troy Nunes, who was not a great quarterback for the Orange. He had his moments, but you kind of found yourself, if you were a Syracuse fan at the time that Troy Nunes was the quarterback, thinking, I wonder how we'd be if we had a better quarterback than Troy Nunes. But this Syracuse fan community was built around the title, Troy Nunes is an absolute musician. No, I screwed it up. Magician. He's not a musician. He doesn't play songs. Troy Nunes is an absolute magician is the name of their community. And so this story that I'm reading is from nunesmagician.com, which is still going many years after Troy Nunes wrapped up his career at the Carrier Dome. And that was just a story about how this game was an opportunity for Syracuse to expand its footprint across upstate New York, and how this was Syracuse coming in to take over UB's fans or something. I'm not going to read the whole thing. It's not a great time for UB basketball right now. 7-8 years ago, we were talking about, hey, screw Syracuse. UB's better now. It's not the case right now. Trying to get it back, working on it. Overall, UB athletics have skyrocketed in the last 10, 15 years. The basketball program's in a little bit of a downswing right now, looking to get out of it. But I don't know. Like, I saw 76-66 in an exhibition. I thought, not bad. Whereas 8 years ago, I'd be like, beat Syracuse. But Syracuse probably wouldn't play UB in the Bobby Hurley or Nate Oates era of basketball. Nothing to be gained. What is this? What's the compound? I don't know what this is. I don't care about that one. No Saudi. This is an actual headline. No, Saudi Arabia is not building a World Cup stadium on top of a skyscraper. I mean, I assumed that when I woke up this morning. I assumed that Saudi Arabia was not building a World Cup stadium on top of a skyscraper, but I guess I haven't been paying attention to the point where I would have thought that maybe they were doing that. So let's zip through this one here. Social media has been a buzz this week with a viral video of a soccer stadium perched at the top of a skyscraper. Let me guess, it's AI and somebody just made it up? Moving on. The short unofficial clip purporting to depict the concept supposedly reveals plans for a $1 billion, 46,000-seat arena in the futuristic new city of Neom, N-E-O-M, that will perch high atop a purpose-built skyscraper 350 meters above the ground. It remains unclear who created and initially shared the clip, which has sparked plenty of excitement online, but also several questions. Will the building be secure and architecturally sound? How long will the queue for elevators be after the game? That's a line, America. A queue is a line. Was it designed intentionally to look so much like the Eye of Sauron? I don't know what that is, but I bet that has to do with Marvel movies or The Lord of the Rings or some other crap that you people consume. It turns out this was a computer-generated clip that convinced some people it's a vision of the future, but it's a work of science fiction. Somebody just made it up. Okay, we don't need to read that story. The pictures are cool. Like, if that was real, you'd be like, whoa, look at that. There's a stadium on top of a skyscraper. But it's not real. It's just what people can make with computers now. All right, Hallmark star emotionally shaves head amid traumatic cancer battle. I just wanted to see if it's a Hallmark star I know. We watch a lot of Hallmark movies. Scott and I do on the road. My wife watches a lot of them. They're all right. Jan K. Crystal Lowe, known for acting on the Hallmark Channel, emotionally opened up about shaving her head amid her breast cancer battle. She took to Instagram Monday to share a video of her shaving her head as she's dealt with hair loss amid her battle. The clip showed her explaining how her hair had been falling out, even by the slightest pull. She then sat in the chair, and her head was shaved bald as she visibly cried, saying, "Ladies and gentlemen, I did a thing. Waking up to clumps of hair falling out was traumatic. Hiding it was the worst, but doing this made me feel like I was in the driver's seat." I like it. I don't know who she is. She doesn't look familiar to me, but I'm sure we'll see her in movies over the course of the next month, as we're getting into Hallmark season right now. Not this week necessarily, because this game, it's a noon kickoff on Saturday. We'll probably get to the hotel at 4 or something, and then we're going out to dinner at 6:30. And then we'll come back and just go to sleep because it's an early game. But it's the midweek action. This is the last Saturday game for the Bulls. Then we get into midweek, so they won't play in the middle of next week, but they play on the, I don't know what it is, the 11th maybe. I think the 11th or 12th. They'll play the next Wednesday, whatever that is, the 11th or 12th. So we'll travel on Tuesday. These are the trips where Hallmark comes into play, because we'll get to somewhere near Ypsilanti, maybe Clare, Michigan or something, and we'll be in a hotel with nothing to do for like 24 hours, because it's a 7 o'clock game, and we'll be in, let's say, Clare, Clare, Michigan, at 4 p.m. The next thing we'll need to do is get on a bus at 5 p.m. the next day to go to the stadium. That is where Hallmark movies come into play, and that's maybe when we'll see this woman in a movie. All right, what is this? 12 NFL trade deadline deals we'd love to see. This was not meant to be something I would tack on at the end. This was if we were going to do a whole segment on proposed trades, trade rumors. Almost, I'm trying to think of a trade rumor that ever existed that then happened. And it's like never. It's not any sport. Hey, I heard so-and-so is looking at this player. And then that team gets that player. I've been doing this kind of stuff for like 30 years. I don't know that it's happened yet. I do believe somebody's rumored to be available. That's a real thing. But once they start connecting them to teams, it's just people making things up. Like putting stadiums on the top of Saudi Arabian skyscrapers online. You're just making things up. You don't need AI to make up trades. I'm going to scroll through and see if the Bills are in it, though. Bengals, Trey Hendrickson to the Colts. Browns, David Njoku to the Broncos. Jets, Garrett Wilson and a pick to the Giants. I don't know what that is. Browns, Wyatt Teller to the Seahawks. Dolphins, Bradley Chubb to the Eagles. Giants, Evan Neal to the Seahawks. Justin Fields to the Jets, Justin Fields to the Vikings. Raiders, Tyree Wilson to the Patriots. Saints, Alvin Kamara to the Chiefs. Saints, offensive tackle Trevor Penning to the Lions. Raiders, cornerback Eric Stokes to the Lions. Giants, defensive tackle Dexter Lawrence to the Bills. All right, let's read this one. For a first-round pick. Is this since the Oliver injury? Because that would make some sense. All right, here's what it says. Dexter Lawrence to the Bills. This is nothing. It's just made up. But it says Bills on it, so I'm going to read it. Price, 2026 first-round pick. All right, first-round pick to the Giants for Dexter Lawrence. Let's end with a bang. Lawrence is a centerpiece of the Giants D-line, but has not played up to his brand name this season. The Lawrence situation recently came to a head when longtime Giants radio voice Carl Banks ripped the former first-round pick and three-time Pro Bowler by saying, quote, "Your opponents do not. The pre-injury Dexter is not in their heads. They don't respect you, and there's a difference. You're on the field. They're blocking you with a fifth-year backup center. You're not making a difference. The old Dexter would. There are a lot of things that go into your performance. Only you know what that is. Whether you're still recovering or not, I'm just telling you now, I'm looking at enough tape to know that your opponents don't respect you, not like they used to." That's the end of the quote from Carl Banks. It says, while Lawrence is unlikely to land a first-round pick, the Bills' sheer desperation and glaring lack of interior defensive line help on the market elevate this to a must-consider for the Giants. Also, Joe Shane was Bills GM Brandon Beane's longtime assistant, if that matters for much. Man, he sounded like a really attractive player there, based on the quote from Carl Banks, who's been watching him. You're not making a difference. The old Dexter would. That doesn't sound like a first-round pick to me. I don't know. I don't know enough about the Giants. I know Dexter Lawrence is a name. I know we like names when it comes to trade deadline stuff. Ooh, I've heard of him. Is like the biggest part of it. I don't know. Trump says, quote, "Pretty clear I'm not allowed to run," unquote, for third term. Okay, let's check this one out. Got to keep an eye on this guy. U.S. President Donald Trump conceded Wednesday that it was, quote, "pretty clear," unquote, the Constitution didn't allow him to seek a third term as president, despite frequently floating the idea in recent months. Here's the quote. "If you read it, it's pretty clear I'm not allowed to run," adding that the sad thing is that he was currently enjoying high political support. Trump's comments came after House Speaker Mike Johnson said Tuesday he did not, quote, see the path, unquote, for Trump to seek a third term. This is a real conversation. It's being had by real people who are really in charge of the country. It's been a great run, but I think the president knows, and he and I have talked about the constrictions of the Constitution as much as so many of the American people lament that. Yeah, people are always complaining that the Constitution's holding them back. I've never heard anyone complain about the Constitution, aside from like a Roe v. Wade argument. And I mean, kind of Second Amendment, but kind of not. It's not a complaint about the Second Amendment. It's a conversation about what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do and what the Second Amendment means. But it's not. Okay. The House Speaker continued. I don't see a way to amend the Constitution because it takes about 10 years to do that. I don't see a path for that. But I can tell you that we're not going to take our foot off the gas pedal. All right. So that's we're trying for a third term, but it doesn't seem super likely. I remember thinking this during his first term. Like, what if he just doesn't leave? Well, he's like, no, I'm going to stay. And then it kind of happened with the January 6th thing. It kind of did. And I was like, oh, what about the second one? What if I just stay? I'm just going to stay. I'm fine. It's not crazy. And then they're talking about it publicly. I guess that's better than just planning it behind the scenes. Rock band cancels reunion tour, including Central New York concert. It's the Stray Cats. Brian Setzer is unhealthy. They say due to serious illness. His quote, I'm heartbroken to share due to serious illness. I'm unable to perform and very regrettably have to cancel our Stray Cats tour. I know this affects so many people. I'm devastated to have to deliver this news. I've been trying everything I can to go on and do these shows, but it's just not possible. I've been looking forward so much to being on stage with my bandmates again and playing for all of our amazing fans, and I'm gutted. One of those shows was slated for November 8th at Turning Stone Casino in Verona. That would have been their first upstate New York performance since 2024. That's not that long ago when they reunited for the first time in 5 years. That's not even that long ago either. To play at Art Park. They played at Art Park in 2024. Okay. They scrapped the scrapped fall concerts would have been the second leg of the reunion tour in the U.S. Setzer is 66 and did not elaborate on his health issues. Oh, now I've got the story of John Lodge of the Moody Blues, dead at 82. We played the song Your Wildest Dreams during the last break, and then I came out of it saying the story confused me because it listed him as best known for songs that I don't think would be the songs that he's best known for. It says the group best known for hits like Your Wildest Dreams, Isn't Life Strange, and The Story in Your Eyes, among others. Went on to sell more than 70 million records worldwide. I mean, Nights in White Satin is clearly the number one most popular, best known, kind of definitive song of the Moody Blues. I don't know how you don't list that in the thing, but let's see. Well, it's an article written by nobody for Syracuse.com. No, Kelly Corbett. Somebody named Kelly Corbett. Didn't mention Nights in White Satin. I think that's dumb. Oh, here's the Lemonheads story, too. All this stuff I talked about having, I did have. Lemonheads have officially unveiled their first album of all new original material in almost 2 decades. It's called Love Chant. It's available everywhere, digitally, in a wide range of physical formats, including multiple colors of LP and CD and digitally, as I said. Recorded, don't care. The Lemonheads have spent much of the past year celebrating Love Chant with a marathon world tour, resuming November 11th in Birmingham, continuing through a December 20th finale in Nashville. The band visits Town Ballroom November 29th here in downtown Buffalo. That would be cool. But again, I don't know enough of them to say I need to purchase tickets to see the Lemonheads. But if somebody's like, hey, I have an extra seat, extra ticket for the Lemonheads, you want to go? I'll be like, yeah, let's do it. All right, we've got this day in history. Duane Allman died on this day in 1971. He was 24 years old. His motorcycle hit the side of a flatbed truck in Macon, Georgia. And that was that for Duane Allman, although the Allman Brothers Band continues on. He's obviously the He's the man. He's the one everybody talks about still. That happened in 1971. This day in 1929 was Black Tuesday on Wall Street. Start of the Depression. And also on this day, I don't know what year. I don't have it in front of me, the year. But the McKinley assassin, Leon Czolgosz, 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 was executed by electric chair in Auburn, New York on this day in history. That's all I got. Unless I want to do... We had okay, real quick. Went upstairs at one point, and there was a package at the front door. It was from Spencer Gifts. Weird. And addressed to my 11-year-old son. And I thought, oh, it must be a birthday gift. Nope. His birthday was in June. The little guy just had a birthday a couple weeks ago. Like maybe it was a leftover gift for him, but no. But so it's addressed to Nate. Nate gets no mail. It's addressed to him. It's a package. Feels like there's some soft stuff. Maybe it's Halloween related, but he was already in his full Halloween costume yesterday, and he wouldn't have ordered it himself. It wouldn't have been addressed to him. When my wife orders stuff for the kids, it comes to her. I looked at, part of me was like, Spencer Gifts is still a thing? So I looked up Spencer Gifts. It claims that the place is not called Spencer Gifts anymore, and it hasn't been for a while, yet that package says Spencer Gifts. There's a lot going on. Like, malls barely exist. Spencer Gifts used to exist. It still exists, but it's just called Spencer's now. But the package up there to my 11-year-old is from Spencer Gifts, and it's addressed to him, and I'm confused, but I'm not opening it. Nobody else is home. I'll wait until my wife is home, or at least he's home, because it's addressed to him. Maybe he can open it. All right, and then I had one other thing open that was not even necessarily for the show. It's just one of the things that I can't resist clicking on. Clickbait for sure. 5 hit rock songs from 1970 that no one remembers today. I don't like when people talk in like extremes like that. No one remembers. You're telling me I don't remember it? Because I remember a lot of stuff. Now, I was not born in 1970, so if they only played it in 1970 and haven't played it anywhere since, then maybe I haven't heard it. But I do have to scroll through and see if I know the 5 songs, any of the 5 songs. If I get 2 right, I'll be thrilled. I should get 1. I don't want to go for 5. Kenny Rogers in first edition, Something's Burning. Reached number 11 in 1970. All right, I don't normally play mute. Here's what's going on. That's the end of the show for the podcast version. Now I'm going to continue to do this because they have the videos right in the story, so I can check and see if I actually know the songs. This will not be on the podcast version. So thanks for listening. We'll be back tomorrow, episode 199. Speaking of health updates, Paul Peck, who missed last UB game and is missing this coming UB game, but is expected to be back for the following UB game, which is at Central Michigan in like a week and a half, 2 weeks from today. He'll be back for that. He's going to call and talk about what he's been going through these last couple of weeks. Get to the bottom of it. Let's get the scoop on Paul Peck. Secret stuff being revealed tomorrow on Writer Radio. Breaking news. You should be here. He said anytime tomorrow. I wrote down 10:30. I haven't confirmed with him that 10:30 is the time, but I think 10:30 tomorrow we'll talk with our senior bowling correspondent, Paul Peck, who was on the show a week ago and then, poof, suddenly could not go to the game, could not do the game on Saturday. Can't do the game this week. We'll be back next week, but we'll get the whole story from Paul. Done very little in the way of speculation about this because it's our friend and it's private. But he's sick. He's been sick, and he wants to talk about it. He's going to come on and talk about it tomorrow. So there's that. All right, that's the end of the show. That's what you'll get on episode 199. Episode 200 is going to be something crazy. That's Friday. It's on Halloween. We'll figure it out. It's also while I'm traveling. But all that's happening. So we're going to end the show right now, but then I'm staying on. So goodbye, podcast listeners. We'll see you tomorrow.